Hey guys, hope you're doing amazing today. If you've been following us from the start, you've probably seen the progress we've been making on our passive solar greenhouse. I want to kind of go through it today and update you on some of the changes we've made and modifications we've made for it to make it work even better for us. So if it's the first time you're joining us and just checking us out, we actually built this greenhouse by ourselves and it's fairly easy, and I highly recommend the design to anyone. Basically anyone can build it themselves. It's fairly simple. You just take some 6x6s, put them in some holes, and build your frame on top of that. On the outside, we've got a 45-degree front, and we put just regular plastic there. I think it's a thicker plastic vapor barrier, and it works extremely well. It's been about 3 years it's been holding up. It's now just started to get some rips and tears in it. So we'll replace it this year, probably in the next few weeks. We want to upgrade to actually plastic clear panels, but we don't have the budget for it just yet. So we're gonna replace this with another sheet of plastic, and maybe next year or the following we'll add those plastic panels to it. We get a huge snow load here in Quebec, probably 5 to 7 feet where we are, and having this 45-degree slope on the front works really well. And even with just the vapor barrier plastic that we have on the front, it sheds the snow quite nice. A little sun starts peeking inside, starts heating up, and the snow just slides right off. So one of the changes we definitely had to do in the greenhouse is add this fan right here. We've been sealing the greenhouse up even more than it was before, adding blocks up here, wood blocks, because this used to vent out the front. However, we closed that up because we keep having chipmunks and squirrels trying to get into the greenhouse. So we closed that up. We're going to insulate the roof this summer as well. So we needed some extra ventilation. We only have 2 of these little windows here that open. So on those hot sunny days, the sun just pours in, and we need that fan to change the air and get some circulation and ventilation going. Another change we made is there used to be 3 of these posts coming all the way down to hold up this beam up here. The reason for that is because we were going to do a sod roof. So we wanted this to be extremely sturdy. However, with everything going on, we've decided not to go ahead with the sod roof. We just put a metal roof on. That's going to work really well for us right now. The sod roof was a few different ideas coming around in our heads, but we're not going to get that done, so we decided to take out 2 of these posts that support the beam up top, just to give us a bit more room and access to everything going on in the gardens. Another change we made is we put 2 new beds inside the greenhouse. The front, where these posts used to be here, we only grew plants in pots. It worked out really well for us just because those beams were there in the way, so we didn't have space to really do a big bed. So once we took those posts out, it allowed us to build these nice raised beds, which give us a lot more room and versatility for growing our food. The raised beds here are built with 2x10s, so it really lifts it up off the ground, which is nice to work with. We left the front here as a lower section, and we're doing some herbs in the lower sections and then trying some different stuff up top. This is our first season doing it with these raised beds, so it's going to be a little trial and error and see what works best for us up in these beds. Another kind of cool thing that's happened as well is we continue to work around the property more and more, add more trees, add more bushes, gardens, that kind of thing. And we were working on a fence as well to keep the dogs on our property. And as we were doing that, we came across more of these patio stones that someone had dumped in the property. So we were able to use them, pick them up, collect them, and we brought them in here for the greenhouse as well. We'll continue to find concrete blocks all over the property. You know, people used to just throw stuff away. Well, for us, it's been really great asset. So with these concrete slabs here, the patio stones, and then the concrete blocks, not only does it help suppress any weeds that might come up here on the walkway, but it adds a thermal mass as well. So during the day, all these concrete blocks and patio stones heat up and then releases that heat at night into the greenhouse, keeping the greenhouse at a pretty constant temperature and keeps it warm at night when the temperatures drop down a little more. The benefit of a passive solar greenhouse like this is it allows us to extend our seasons on both ends. So we can use this almost 2 months before our real season begins outside and almost 2 months at the end now. It's getting pretty good at holding the heat and staying warm during those colder months. So growing some stuff that is more cold tolerable, like lettuce and that kind of thing, it makes it extremely effective for growing that food later and earlier in the season. Now, with that as well, it allows us to grow stuff that is not typical for our zone. So we can now grow peppers, hot peppers, bell peppers. We've got a lemon tree going in here as well. I've got some ginger right down here on the floor. So it allows us to expand our normal diet for things that are kind of native to our area and our climate. That allows us to eat a wider variety of food without having to go to the grocery store or rely on, ships transporting that stuff to the grocery store or to Canada from Mexico or South Africa, South America, that kind of thing. It makes us feel really good that we're able to do that. The rain barrels worked really well. We've hooked up a soaker hose to it, so every now and then we'll just turn the tap on, and that allows us to soak basically the garden beds around the outside of the greenhouse. The raised beds in the middle here we still have to do with a watering can, but that's okay. It forces us to come in and look after stuff and tend to stuff and pay a little more attention to things going on as well. We want to hook up the rain barrel to a gutter system. That's another future project which would make it easier for us instead of bringing a hose in and filling this up every time. Another update to the greenhouse that we did that's been so beneficial is the addition of the screen door. The main purpose of it was when we had our chickens free ranging, every so often they would come in the greenhouse and start picking at stuff. We had one day where they came in and we had planted our peppers and they had eaten all the peppers. So something had to be done. The screen door was the perfect option. Perfect answer. Yeah, perfect answer. Perfect. It worked out really well. So not only does it prevent the chickens getting in here, but it also helps prevent other animals getting in here, like the squirrels and chipmunks. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little update from the greenhouse. If you haven't seen some of the earlier videos, you can check one out here when we started it, and you'll see the big changes that have been made.